back to another session of Gallant Current Affairs and News Analysis CaN. So today we have about 8 topics that we need to discuss today. So I have China-Bhutan boundary dispute issue, India-Greeks relation, smart city missions, and in prelims we have about 5 topics to deal with today. So moving on, we have the China-Bhutan boundary dispute talks. So there is a, like India-China boundary disputes, Bhutan and China also has boundary disputes. So since 1984, a lot of talks has been going on the boundary issues resolution. So in 1996, China has actually put forward want to exchange the valley of the north of Bhutan, that with Doklam issue. Doklam, which is actually west of Bhutan. So the deal would actually benefit Bhutan because it will actually resolve all the disputes between Bhutan and China, which is presently. But this resolution would actually is a very big worry to India. So we will see why this is a very big issue to India. So you see here, this Pasamlang and Jakalang. So this is the initial boundary dispute that China and Bhutan actually had. So you see here, this is actually Bhutan and this is the first northern part of disputed area in Bhutan. So you see here Doklam. This dispute actually started in 2017. So if you are seeing here, this is very near to, this area is very near to India and it's a tri-junction between Bhutan, China and India, that is this Doklam you are seeing. So this 1996 what the Chinese has offered is that in exchange for Doklam, they will actually give back this Jakalang and Pasamlang. Chinese want this Doklam. Doklam, and they will actually give back these two areas which is under the Chinese control, and the Bhutan and China relations which actually will be resolved. So they don't have any kind of diplomatic relations. All relations that is happening right now is based on this boundary dispute that is happening. Now this will be very beneficial for Bhutan because it will actually resolve all the issues between Bhutan and China, but this is very negative, like this is a very big worry for India. So if you are seeing, if they give away this Doklam is very near to India and it's very near to the Chicken Neck, that is a Siliguri corridor, that is in India. If you know, it's near near to this area, that is the Siliguri corridor, which is also known as the Chicken Neck. So if China comes near and captures the Siliguri corridor, we will actually lose all connection with our northeast. The roadways, landways, we will actually lose this opportunity we have with northeast. So because of all this, there is a lot of problems between this Doklam dispute itself. In 2017, Chinese was actually found to constructing roads in this Doklam area, and it further led to standoff between Bhutan and China, and India is also involved in this standoff because India has promised to help Bhutan in case of any military aggression from Chinese via their Friendship Act. Further moving on, there is also a problem with the Sangting Wildlife Sanctuary. While China, Bhutan, India, everybody was attending the 58th Global Environment Facility, Bhutan actually asked for some of the favors or some funds associated so they could actually develop and maintain this Sangting Wildlife Sanctuary area. But China, to avoid this, actually stated that the Sangting is a disputed territory area between Bhutan and China, which was actually not disputed territory, but Chinese want to actually put more pressure into Bhutan, so that actually this kind of resolution that China put forward could actually be maintained. So that is what China is actually doing, so that Bhutan will be aligned under pressure and give up this Doklam area. So if you see here, they have actually repeatedly put a lot of pressure over Bhutan so that they would actually hand over Doklam. So why is actually, you might actually guess, why is India helping Bhutan? So if you are looking back, we have an India-Bhutan Friendship Treaty of 1949 in which India stated that Bhutan actually allowed India to guide Bhutan in case of foreign policy and defense affairs, especially in case of aggression with China. But since 1949, Bhutan has been growing on its own. Now it's actually internationally recognized because Bhutan has its environmental policies and stuff, because of which it is carbon neutral, and it is actually renowned all over the world for one of the environmental facilities that Bhutan provides. So 2007, they actually wanted, with all this attention of the world they are getting, they want to actually navigate their own policies of foreign affairs. So, an amendment was made in 2007 by which we gave back the sovereignty of Bhutan. We are still in good relations, India, Bhutan are still relations, and we will be helping out Bhutan in whatever help they actually want. China has also stated that a third party should not point fingers at the China border dispute, China-Bhutan border dispute. That third party China is referring to is actually India. So, that is actually a prenup of what is this boundary dispute that China and Bhutan has, and currently they are going towards the 25th round of talks. Since 1984 to about 2016, there was about 24 rounds of talks. Still in this 24 round of talks also, they couldn't actually resolve all these boundary issues they have. Since 2017 Doklam Dispute, they actually, since then there was no boundary talks happening, and now they are going to conduct the 25th round of talks. So, that is actually happening now. So, we do not know what the outcome will be, if Bhutan will surrender to Chinese proposal or not. Everything is actually in favor for India. So, now let us move on. We have the India-Greece relationship. Recently, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, after the BRICS conference and BRICS summit in Johannesburg, he flew to Greece. So, summit flew to Greece to his first state visit in European Mediterranean country. Now, this is the first time that a Prime Minister is actually going to Greece in 40 years. The last president to visit is Indira Gandhi in 1983. In this visit, the PM was honoured with the Grand Cross of the Order of Honour of Greeks. Grand Cross of the Honour by the Greek president is actually the biggest honour that is given from a Greek president to a Prime Minister Modi. That is one of the highest orders that is present in the Greek. So, if you are looking more into, there has been a lot of bilateral relations and a lot of outcome has actually come with this recent visit. Elevation of India-Greece cooperation to a strategic partnership, and then both countries are sharing their vision for a free and open Mediterranean Sea as well as the Indo-Pacific Ocean. They want to double their bilateral trade. Presently their trade is actually $2 billion USD or such. They want to double it by 2030. Then they have actually signed a lot of memorandum of understandings, MOU based on agriculture, production, animal rearing, electronics, pharmacy, etc. and early finalization of mobility and migration partnership arrangement to facilitate skilled migration between India and Greece. Also establishment of direct flight routes. We do not have direct flights, but still India-Greece direct flight routes are actually being developed, and the two sides strongly condemn terrorism, because like India, China, we have issues there. Greeks and Turkey has a lot of boundary issues and such, similar to that of India, China. So, we have a lot of common with Greek. So, if you are looking back historically, we have a lot of relationship with Greece. 2500 years ago, we had an establishment of connection between Greece. It was started by invasion of Alexander the Great, then with the Alexander the Great. Then we had in the Mauryan Empire two Greek ambassadors. You might know the Megasthenes and Deimachus. They are actually some famous figures we still study in our ancient history when we deal with the chapter of Mauryan Empire. Then the Gandhara school of art is actually infusion of Gandhara, the Greek sculptures, and the Indian version, where we actually see a lot of developments of Greek in it, Greek architecture representation in it. If you are looking at the political angles, we had bilateral relations since our independence in 1950, and Greece have actually set up opened its embassy in Delhi in 1950, whereas we opened in Athens in 1978. Greece has actually supported India almost in all the international platforms, even if it's our Kashmir issue, even if we wanted a permanent seat in United Nations Security Council, even if we want to join the National Suppliers Group or Vasana Group, for everything Greece has been in support of India, and Greece claims India as one of the world powers. So, Greece has supported India in its Kashmir issue. Similarly, we have supported in their Cyprus issue. The Cyprus issue is actually between Greece and Turkey. They have a lot of maritime as well as land bound disputes. So, because of which we have been in great support to Greece actually. Now, in defense relations also, our navies like 4 ships actually went to Souda Bay in Crete in the Greece areas, and we have also participated in the Greek Air Force exercise called the Inochios 2021. We, as trade relations I have told you, it's already about $2 billion. Now they want to actually double it by 2030. Now there is a very small skewness of the India-Greek relationship, as I have told you. If you are looking back, India-Greek is not something we actually study every time or learn every time like US or Russia or something, but with the oncoming going of India-Greek relationship, it's important that you learn more. Now with my time constraint, I was only able to give you this much, but I will ask you to go and read further on India-Greece relationships. I just gave you a glimpse of how the relationships has been between India and Greece. Now moving on, we have the Smart City Mission. Now this mission was actually launched in 2015 and it is a centrally sponsored scheme, which means that 60% will be provided by center and the rest 40% has been inputted by the states. If you are looking at Northeast, this ratio will be 90:10. For other states, this is 60:40. Now the Northern Ministry under this is the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, and it was timeline between 2015 and it was actually extended to June 2023, and the coverage about 100 selected cities to actually make it smart. So how is the cities made smart? So if you see here, we are actually bringing e-governance and citizen centric services. We are also putting upon waste management, waste to energy like pyrolysis and such. For the waste management, waste to compost like biocompost and waste and such, recycling and reducing of the waste. We actually heard about the circular economy of waste management and such. Then water management, smart water quality monitoring, wastewater convertment, then energy management or smart meters management, energy efficient buildings, urban mobility or smart parking and proper traffic management, and then telemedicine, teleeducation such actually makes a smart city. These are actually developments they are actually trying to make into about 100 cities. Now this actually includes the key cities, key capital areas and some other cities which they have actually selected. So if you are looking into the today's news article, we can find that there has been a 4th edition of awards to the best cities that is given. So if you are looking in the cities category, Indore has emerged as the first and followed by cities like Surat and Agra. If you are looking state-wise, the first person who arrived is Madhya Pradesh, followed by Tamil Nadu, Rajasthan and Uttar Pradesh. If you are looking at the Union Territory category, it is Chandigarh. So this ISAC Awards 2022 is actually organized by the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. This is the 4th edition of the awards which is given out to the best cities, best smart cities, and due to COVID in 2021, they didn't actually give out any awards. So this is actually a basic update. You should know what is a smart city mission, under which ministry it is. A glimpse of what all is done under the smart city mission, as I have shown you in my previous slide. Now moving on, we are entering our prelims portion. We have the GE HAL jet engine. So the GE general engine and HAL Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, between this is actually an agreement between companies of multinational companies of India and America. GE General Electric is actually a company of America. So this deal involves actually the sharing of a critical technology on how to make jet engine technology. Usually India actually purchases engines from other jet engines and such, jet engine extra from the foreign countries like US, France and such. But now India wants to develop this kind of technology indigenously, so that India could come forward in the defense technologies and defense production as well. So by this agreement, GE-HAL jet engine agreement, they actually want to get the technology of how this jet engine is produced, so they actually can manufacture it indigenously. And this technology and this can be actually used in one of our light combat helicopters which is designed indigenously in India, that is the Tejas Mk2. So this machine, this jet engine is actually used in our LCA light combat aircraft Tejas Mk2. Now this will actually improve India's pursuit for advanced combat jet engine technology, and it will actually bolster its indigenous defense. You need not ponder much on what this engine is, how is the technical applications and what the technologies are in it. The thing is that you can actually pose this as example in your main science writing. The growing defense relations between India, America and all such, you can actually critical, because rather than buying it, the sharing of critical technology is another level, is very important rather than buying stuff. Like for Rafale and all, we actually purchase from France, but they are not actually giving us the technology to produce those Rafales indigenously in India, but this is a very big milestone. So sharing of technology is another big milestone, so you could actually quote this as an example. Now moving on, we have the South China Sea practice drill. So you have you know that there is a lot of disputes going on the South China Sea, with Chinese aggression claiming on a majority of islands that is present in the South China Sea. So if you are looking, Australia, US and Philippines, they have combined their practice drill, stating such that they practice is similar to capturing of an island. So they actually practice retaking an island which is seized by an hostile force. This hostile force, they actually refer to it as China in a large military drill on the northern west Philippine coast facing the disputed South China Sea. So in this, there was a mock beach landing, assault and helicopter insertion by force, such like they were actually capturing an island which is occupied by an hostile territory. Such kind of exercise was actually done. So by means that if the Chinese aggression is increasing and China is capturing more islands with more transmitting more fleet to these islands, these kind of exercise will be more useful, as these countries would be able to capture that islands which is under the Chinese aggression back. They also conducted air assault maneuvers in Rizal town, which is western province, like that of Filipinos. So their insertion of force, the Philippines Navy with 1,200, there was Philippine naval base with 1,200 Australian, 560 Philippines and 120 US Marine participating in this practice drill. So if we are looking at the South China Sea dispute, so this is the South China Sea. You see this line, this is the 9 dash line, this is the area including the Taiwan region that is actually claimed by China. But these Parcel Islands, Scarborough Islands, Partly Islands are actually claimed by a lot other countries. If you can see, Parcel Islands is claimed by China, Taiwan and Vietnam. This Partly Islands, you can see this Partly Islands here is claimed by China, Taiwan, Vietnam, Brunei and Philippines. The Scarborough Island is actually claimed by Philippines, China and Taiwan. So this is the 9 dash line under which the Chinese actually claiming its historical rights over the South China Sea. So this is something which you will actually learn in the international relations. I am just giving you a glimpse of what the sea drill was talking about. Now we have the Nadaraja Statue. This is a very important topic in your arts and culture. If you are dealing with the Chola dynasty, this is one of such, like you will learn from the cultural background of the Cholas. Now the statue is 28 feet long. It is one of the oldest freestanding stone sculptures of Nadaraja and was built by Chola Queen Sembian Mahadevi. Now this actually has gained a prominence over Tamil Nadu, and even it was actually a simple, and this dancing Shiva actually became a part of and a position of religious festival, especially in the Chola dynasty, and it is actually a figure, it has a special significant figure especially in Tamil Nadu. Now this 28 feet statue of Nadaraja will be actually put up in the wing in the front of the G20 present G20 leaders summit. It will be at next month in New Delhi. So let us look at more into Nadaraja statue. When you are actually learning arts and culture, it is important that you know about the Nadaraja statue, what this is made of, what each components actually talk about. For example, the hairs actually shows the flowing act of the river Ganga, and the notes actually talks about heavenly bodies and such. Then you have the creation and then destroyer of the world, and also the symbol of creation of the world. Then you have the Abhay Mudra hosting, and the leg actually talking about the freedom from fear and liberation. Then it is actually stomping in front, so it actually talks about enhancing of our greed, illusion, ignorance that is faced by the humans. So each and everything actually talks about, each and every symbol, each and every pose actually talks about a certain kind of creation or a destruction of what the humans feel. Like this circle, it actually talks about the endless cycle of births and death. So of all this, the Nadaraja statue becomes very important, and you can actually especially get a question in mains regarding the Nadaraja statue as well. What are the components? You can actually write about where it comes, the Chola dynasty, what each components talk about and such. Now moving on, we have the La Darcha fair. Now this fair is not just restricted to a particular state, but it's actually a cultural contribution between a lot of states, like in Himachal, Spiti, Lahul Valley. Also we get actually a lot of people from Bhutan and Tibet who actually participate in this fair. Now the Nadaraja fair offers us a glimpse into the undiscovered and unspoiled culture, artifacts, handicrafts and myriad of other extinguished goods which is actually produced in this area. It's like a fair, not a festival, a fair where you get a lot of their existing and cultural artifacts, handicrafts and such. Now this is actually organized between Bhutan, Tibet, Himachal Pradesh area, Lahul, Spiti, Ladakh and such. So if you see here, this festival has been celebrated since the time memorial, and it actually shows us a remembrance of between the Himalayan causes, between all the Himalayan region, states and areas. It is one of the biggest festivals which is celebrated in this higher Himalayan regions. The majestic carnival of Nadaraja fair offers you the rare opportunity to experience the traditional and authentic as well as soul soothing and high pleasing music, dance and other fairs and such. So that is the Nadaraja fair that is actually mentioned in the news. So moving on, we have last topic, fleet support ships. Now India, the defense ministry has actually ordered has signed a contract with the Hindustan Shipyard Limited Visakhapatnam for 5 new fleet support ships, which is actually worth about 19,000 crores. Now this actually they are actually producing more ships, fleet support ships indigenously, so that you could actually support the Indian Navy and boost the Navy's capability, like blue water capacity of the Indian Navy. Now the Indian Navy is currently any naval ships of any countries could actually protect their maritime boundary, but to go further and do an operation above the borders is actually a huge difficult task. So if we are actually upgrading our naval system, they could actually they can actually develop in a blue water capability or blue water navy. So this blue water navy means that it is one of which a fleet that has actually capacity to project itself beyond the borders and to a much bigger maritime area than its maritime borders. So these kind of blue water force is actually able to carry out operations not just in their land in their border areas, but in the far sea, in the deep sea also. They can actually perform these operations and carry on without coming back for refuel or for restock and such. So that is the capability of blue water navy is called. With the addition of these 5 fleet ships, the defense ministry feels like the Indian Navy could actually be projected to become and enhance the blue water capacity of the Indian Navy. So that was the last topic for today. So that is it. You can get the PDF from our Telegram channel, Gallant IAS. So I will be with more news tomorrow. Thank you and have a nice day.